3 words. That's all it took to transform a robot void of feelings into a hero saving an island full of wildlife, all because of one little gosling that stole her heart. To fully understand how 3 words had the power to completely change a character, we have to go all the way back to the beginning of The Wild Robot. The Wild Robot is a movie about Rosms, robots designed with only one purpose: to act as personal assistants for humans in ways we can't imagine today. But what would be left of the robot if its only purpose was taken away? That's exactly what happened when Roz is stranded on an island inhabited only by wildlife. A bunch of animals were curious about this creature that landed on their shores, and in their curiosity, they accidentally started Roz.
Hello, bonjour.
Guten Tag. Congratulations on your purchase of a Universal Dynamics robot.
After powering on and noticing there are no humans to assist, Roz started going around the island, asking if animals had any tasks that they needed help with.
Ready to receive my first task.
But there was just one problem. Roz couldn't understand what any of the animals were trying to tell her. She tried to fit in, copying their movements, mannerisms, and even sounds, hoping that she could close that gap. But the animals had a different opinion. There was no way they were welcoming this random robot into their tribe. She had 2 legs, long arms, and a round head, which was a stark difference from how the animals looked. Roz was practically a weirdo. She also couldn't speak any of the languages they were speaking, meaning Roz was never going to fit in. That's when Roz took the matter into her own hands. When she couldn't help humans, Roz was determined to find a new purpose, one that is in line with her abilities of helping others. But how could she help others when she can't communicate with them? That's when she revealed her secret weapon.
Activating learning mode.
She installed a language pack. Devastatingly enough, that only made things worse. The animals started attacking her relentlessly. Roz was powerless, and all she wanted to do was to be helpful, but instead she was treated like a threat. Sometimes good intentions can lead to bad outcomes. She determined that the island didn't need her, so she started her return transmitter to return herself to the factory. After all, there was no life for Roz without a purpose.
Activating return transmitter. 3, 2, 1.
But the weather had other plans. Lightning hit and knocked Roz unconscious. When she woke up later, half her body was lost, not because of the lightning, because of the animals. Panic set in, and her mind started racing with thoughts of the worst-case scenarios. But she was programmed to stay calm. She assessed the situation with a clear mind and did the only thing she could do: chase and retrieve. And just when she thought she retrieved everything, her transmitter got stolen again. It was almost like she was fated to stay on this island, and that was when she had an unlucky encounter with a bear. Fearful of her life, she ran and ran and ran. Then she rolled uncontrollably down the mountain. Trying her best to find a way to stop rolling, her danger signals started flashing red. Luckily, Roz was saved right at the edge of the cliff at the expense of a little family cushioning her fall. Not so fortunate. And when she inspected her surroundings after the fall, almost no survivors were left. But fortune smiled upon this lucky unborn gosling egg, the sole survivor of the family. And then, for the first time on the island, Roz found her purpose, her calling to take responsibility and right her accidental wrongdoing. Her eyes lit up with the idea of raising the unborn gosling. But before she even had the chance, the egg was taken away by Fink, the fox.
May I confirm that is yours?
Roz went on a wild goose chase, and when she finally got the egg back, it gave a signal that it was time. The gosling was born. It was a magical moment. Roz thought she did a good job hatching it. Fulfilling her purpose and leaving the gosling behind was like second nature. She finally completed the first task she received on this island. What more can she do? But little did she know, this task was the prologue of her transforming into a full-fledged mother, literally and figuratively. The gosling started following Roz around, thinking that she's his actual mom. Roz continued her hunt for new tasks, wandering the forest with her newfound sense of accomplishment. But her next encounter with Pinktail and a possum would change the trajectory of her life.
Taking care of him is your task now. Task?
After some light-hearted advice, she finally acknowledges that she has to take care of the gosling.
I'll need to eat, but yours needs to swim and fly. Oh, fly by fall.
And the adventure of teaching the little gosling how to eat.
Eat.
Swim and fly. But what happened after Roz taught the gosling all he needed to survive on his own won the hearts of everybody. They started building a home together. Not just for Bright Bill, not just for Roz, but a home for the two of them, for the family they were becoming.
Your inefficient participation will slow the process.
This was the first time we saw Roz expressing a slight bit of empathy. Roz had the chance to leave the little thing after it hatched. Now, she had the chance again knowing it could survive on its own, but she didn't. Because for the first time, Roz felt some sort of belonging. Letting the gosling help with building the house, even though she knows that the small twigs most likely wouldn't make a big difference. Was this the start of her building emotions? Or was it the next scene, when she finally went through the process of naming the little gosling? And the first name that came to mind?
I assign to you, Gosling, 0001.
Okay, that sucks.
Yeah, just like you'd think. But even when she tried to be creative, she came up with
Gosling, 0186. There, you see what out of sequence.
which makes the moment that much more touching.
Bright Bill.
Right, Bill? Processing. Beep, beep, boop, boop.
A name a robot would never choose. And that serves as proof that Roz had developed a real heart inside herself. One that is able to harbor emotions and feelings. She was no longer just a robot. This was the moment that cemented it. Roz was officially Bright Bill's mom. Bright Bill has grown to be so much similar to Roz.
I do not want to do skunk.
Skunky, skunky, skunky. Boo!
But one thing hasn't changed. Bright Bill still has to learn how to swim the right way. This time, properly. Well, yeah, properly.
Hey, it's working. I think I got it.
What seemed like a job well done became the start of a horror movie. Bright Bill started swimming away from the shore, getting further into the pond, and he finally discovered his kind. Goslings that looked like him, moved like him, talked like him. For the first time, Bright Bill felt like he truly belonged. Except the other goslings didn't think Bright Bill was their kind, so they bullied him.
We have nothing in common with you.
The freak show is on the other side of the lake. Try swimming with your feet.
Ostracized, alone, false hopes dashed. But he had his mom, Roz, to fall back on, right? Well, yeah, until...
That thing killed your mother. Everyone knows that.
Bright Bill felt that awful churn in his stomach. His smile fades. His heartbeat drops. There was only one question he had in his head. Was all of this a lie? He thought of Roz as his real mom the entire time. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Roz was his mom's murderer.
You're not my mom.
For the first time, Roz learns what pain really feels like. A wound that cuts deep. She thought she found her purpose, nurturing someone she could call family. But it might all just have been a soap opera that was orchestrated by herself. The bond she had with Bright Bill was one built on rocky foundations. She wished she told the truth. Maybe, just maybe, they could still have been family. But life moves in one direction only. No regrets can be replayed, only carried forward as lessons for the journey ahead. That marked the start of their separation and the beginning of Roz's self-discovery. Roz scoured the island and found another Rosm. Thinking that her kind might have the solutions to her problems, she poured all her questions to this Rosm, but she never expected it to have such a bizarre answer.
You are defective. You must return to factory.
It labeled Roz as defective. A robot isn't supposed to have feelings. A robot shouldn't think with their heart. A robot is supposed to do what was tasked. But Roz couldn't let go of her feelings. She couldn't just leave Bright Bill behind to fix herself. Even if Bright Bill hated her, he had no one else to depend on. If he couldn't fly this winter, it would mean that he would freeze to death, alone on this uninhabited island. So Roz stayed behind and tried to teach Bright Bill how to fly. And we know how that went. Bright Bill got so discouraged because of his small wings. And that was when Roz and Fink got a surprise.
A flight instructor. But what loser did you dig up?
The eagle. The eagle with the small wings that treated it like a weapon.
Small wings are teeth, the claws of the sky.
Those are different things.
The same eagle, he trained Bright Bill hard, from dusk till dawn. While Bright Bill was putting in the hard work, Roz set up the foundations for his migration. He secured a spot amongst Longneck's flock.
Can Bright Bill?
Endurance. Keep him in the air all day.
There was just no way Bright Bill could fly alone. He would never make it. He had to fly with the rest of his kind, but doing so meant that he had to leave Roz behind.
Will you be here when I get back?
No.
The migration has started. Roz had finished her task, but there was just a lingering feeling in her heart.
How do you know if you love something? Someone?
She kept her words for way too long, and now she had to make the hard choice, to return to her factory or to stay and wait for Bright Bill to come back. She decided on the latter.
Bright Bill! He's alive!
Just when we thought that we're going to have a happy ending,
Rosm 7134. I am Vantra.
they have arrived to retrieve their beloved Roz, the very same Roz that gained emotions. Vantra couldn't wait to study Roz's memory, but Roz couldn't bear to leave her newfound family behind. She did what every sensible person would do: run. For the first time, she disobeyed orders. She wasn't chained down by her programming anymore. She chose freedom. And she was not alone. The island came together and fought off Vantra.
And I am a wild robot.
They were able to put up a good fight, winning the first wave of attack. The island animals thought that they emerged victorious, but Roz knew if Vantra got serious, the island would have no chance of survival. And Roz was right. Vantra's second assault came without mercy, launching a rain of missiles on the island. Chaos ensued, and Roz didn't even get to see the explosion that hit her. She got knocked out, cold. Vantra was going to get their way, but Bright Bill couldn't take that for an answer. She was going to lose her memories, the only person Bright Bill has ever loved. Forgetting him? Can you imagine the pain Bright Bill must be feeling? He united the Goslings and went on a mission, one to save Roz. But was Bright Bill too late? That is when we get to the climax. One scene, two beings, three words. Bright Bill thought that Roz's memories were wiped, so he climbed up and rested on Roz's shoulders. A wave of nostalgia hits. He remembers how they slept together when Bright Bill was young. A cold feeling of emptiness freezes Bright Bill. Was this the last time he got to see Roz? He could never make up for all the mean things he said to her. And when Bright Bill finally lost all hope, he mustered all the courage he had to say the three words he kept deep down in his heart the entire time.
I love you.
I love you. A feeling that can't be described. Words he wished she could have heard. But what seemed to be the final moments between the two turned out to have an unexpected twist. Roz's heart started beating, lighting up, powering the entire body. And what seemed like an emotionless robot was able to nonchalantly muster the words.
Love you too.
Roz?
All hopes rekindled. Roz's memories weren't destroyed. The manufacturers might be able to erase her memories from the system, but the real memories in her heart belong to her forever. And they can never take it away from Roz, just like they can't take away the feeling of Bright Bill finally accepting Roz as his true mother. Sadly, if they were ever to meet again, there is no way they wouldn't recognize each other. Roz must return to her motherland, so the two had to give up on each other. Even though the island animals fought so hard to keep Roz behind, she knew she had a duty to fulfill. It was a necessary self-sacrifice to save the island. They might have to say their goodbyes now, but it isn't their final chapter. The love that was built upon Roz and Bright Bill spread across the entire island. The very animals who hated Roz for being a weirdo banded together and formed a strong camaraderie fighting against Vantra to keep Roz staying with Bright Bill.
I promise I will find my way home.
The ridiculous part? Predators started having empathy for their prey.
You know, I'll be chasing you again tomorrow. Nah, just kidding.
Happily ever after. But that's not the final chapter. Wild Robot brings to our attention a part of our life that we take for granted. Two strangers coming together, trying to make things work. It's almost like we couldn't choose who our parents were. So we were just two different people, navigating life the best we can, hoping that the decisions we made were the right ones. Because at the end of the day, the love you feel is real. No one can take that feeling away from you. Roz and Bright Bill went through a hell of an adventure together and faced many complex challenges. Their final chapter?
But you can call me Roz.
Not all love gets the happy ending it deserves. Tell your loved ones, I love you, before you never can again. Figure out if it were your last day on Earth, who would you spend it with? Then give them a call. Not everyone gets a second chance, but there is someone that did get a second chance. Even with a pain that's carved so deep that he wanted to end the world, he saved the world instead. All because of Maria. If you want to know what this guy did, click here to watch that video.